Okay, hello everybody. How are you? Are you recharged? I hope so. I think that the lunch break is not only any ordinary lunch break, but you can have the opportunity to connect with people, with the speakers, to share your insights about these incredible 2 days of this Congress. Now we are going to start the second part of this second day of DES 2023. Don't forget to download our official mobile app, DES 2023, where you can find full information about exhibitors and speakers. You can rate them and put 5 stars in your favorite speaker. So let's go ahead. We're going to talk now in this keynote session about 20 minutes about the future AI, what implications there are for business. You know that the scenario of AI is changing continuously and very quickly. So we need to know, how should we anticipate future business opportunities? All these questions will be answered in the next key session. Let's invite, with a big applause, Ibon Thugasti. He is the Managing Director of Prospectiker.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ibon. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And of course, Jerome. He is the CEO and Executive Director of the Millennium Project. It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you
Enjoy.
very much.
I think I'll stand.
Okay, perfect, Jerry.
Okay.
Let's start. You are right. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
So, welcome to everyone. We are here in this session talking about the future opportunities of AI for business. So you see it's a positive approach to technology. And we have our keynote speaker today, Jerome, who will give us some insights on the issue and help us see what could be the opportunities for all of you. So let's start the show. Jerry,
Okay, thank you.
the floor is yours.
I want you to very carefully remember this first point. The world is very confused about AI. There are 3 kinds of AI, and the way they are discussed, they get all sloshed together. And this is confusing for all of us. So please, when you talk about AI with your friends, make a distinction between narrow intelligence we have today, general intelligence we do not have yet, and superintelligence as science fiction is talking about. So when people talk about all these wild big deals, changing everything, wiping us out and all that stuff, yeah, it's plausible, and I'll get into that. But that's not now, and it's not general, but it's super. But the reason we worry about the transition from narrow today to the next one, general, is because if we don't get the transition to general right, we have no control how it goes into super. It's like your children. If you don't get them right to begin with, you got no control later on. Too late. So we got to worry about that now. And it's not an impossible task. So between narrow and general, this is the key intervention that can make the future fabulissimo. Really excellent. Really excellent. But if we don't do it right, science fiction may have something to say. So where's all this stuff going to? Where it's going to is, consider your human body. You have an autonomic nervous system that runs your heartbeat. It's a single-purpose AI. You have a circulatory system, one-purpose AI. Skeletal system, one-purpose AI. So you are a mix of narrow intelligences run with the general intelligence, the brain. Because we have this autonomic nervous system, we're free to think and invent civilization. We'll do the same thing on a societal basis. We will connect everything that can be connected with narrow intelligence, and it'll free us up to partner with general intelligence to create the future of civilization, if we're smart.
So, Jerry, let me ask you, what are the best opportunities for business ahead?
Good. Use this little model and say what in your situation is not connected. You got an alimentary canal system and sewage system. That's not necessarily the best thing, but that's got to be connected to everything else. So look around your situation and see what has not been connected that ought to be connected with narrow intelligence. And that's a business opportunity. there are thousands and thousands and thousands of business opportunities connecting up the body of civilization.
Excellent.
So, we have massive opportunities in AI, as I just mentioned, but also we got to learn. The first speaker did it very well. He talked about keep using all these chat GPT. Just play with it, 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 all the time. Just play with it. Just like internet. In your early internet, you did it once or twice. Now, you're doing it all day long. You don't even think about it. Same with AGI. But the applications for that are going to be exploding like crazy, just like the applications for the internet. How many applications on the internet are today? What, millions and millions? We'll have millions and millions out of this as well. Another point is a little trickier. Artificial general intelligence, already narrow, but general intelligence will use a lot of electricity. Blockchain is using a lot of electricity. We got another 1.8 billion people coming up by 2050. So the electricity and energy and storage demands are going to be gigantic. Anything related to energy is going to be growing like crazy. You don't even talk about directly creating that, but there's a whole ecology of stuff behind that. All kinds of new businesses are going to have to grow. The other one is the compute capability is going to massively, massively increase. Anything that supports that, feeds that, supply chains to that, is a large growth industry, very sustainable. Now, I'm going to quickly go through some technologies. And what I want you to do is be thinking about how the synergies among these things will work. Like when we did our cell phone, we didn't think it was the future calendar. When you were forecasting the future of a camera, you didn't think of an internet device. I mean, so we created tremendous synergies for a fabulous product. So imagine how many new products like a smartphone can be created by these. You've got artificial intelligence, 3 kinds that I mentioned, robotics, synthetic biology, computational science, cloud data analytics, artificial augmented reality, nanotechnology. There are 2 kinds. Right now we got big machines making little things. The big deal was when you make little things that make big things. We haven't done that part yet. Everybody, tell everybody, tell everything, quantum computing, telepresence, holographic communications, intelligence augmentation, collective intelligence, blockchain, 3D, 4D printing, drones, driverless cars, conscious technology, and the synergies among all these things. Tremendous opportunities.
So Jerry, how could a business identify those synergies?
Okay. What I would suggest that you do, you take out, not all of these, but some of these, and we call them NTs for next technologies, because there's too much to keep saying on them all. So you take any of these NTs, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them, doesn't matter, take a piece of paper and write them down, 1, 2, 3, 4, same ones across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? Then you say, how can Tech 1 affect Tech 2? And is there an implication for my business? Yes or no? If no, go on to the next one. What's the implication for my business for this one? So out of that, a matrix of 4 by 4, I guarantee you're going to come up with some new products or services you never thought about that you'll be able to do. Now, here's one of them, one of my favorite ones. Imagine you got your own AI avatar. It goes running all around the internet all night long while you're sound asleep, wakes you up in the morning and says, I got 50 things that are fabulous for you. 25 are cool just because I know who you are and I know what you like to do. And there's another 25 over here. I've taken the liberty of creating some smart contracts. All you got to do is approve it. And all of these things you want to do too, but this is where you get your income today. So you could literally invent your economic activity and what you do every day with this one application. So just think of all the rest of them that are possible. Now, as I mentioned, the superintelligence we will have no control over. The only control we have is how it evolves, of how it goes from narrow to general, because the going from general to super, that's beyond our control, just by definition. So if we get to this point without management, then we have to pray that it works out, because that's all we'll be able to do.
So Jerry, what's the current situation and next steps?
Well, I'm very pleased. Just today, you can see in the news, the Secretary General has called for a team of hotshot corporate AI folks and some countries and some other players to create a team to figure out how do we manage this transition. Yay, team. Now, as we all know, great initiatives have sometimes go nowhere if people don't push them. So one of your homeworks for tonight is to find out who in your government is the liaison to this activity with the Secretary General. Your foreign minister will designate somebody. Because if we, the people, don't push, then I'll tell you what's going to happen to that committee. It's going to talk about GPT chat, which is already a horse out of the barn. It's not going to deal with a big thing. We, the people, have to say, you're going to have to accept looking 5, 10 years down the road. You're going to have to do that. It's not like the internet. You come and then you slowly have it go around the world so you adjust to it. This isn't like the internet. That slowly, I was involved in this, slowly going around the world. AGI, click, click, click. You can share the software simultaneously worldwide, and it learns continually with use. So you can lobby to create some UN agency to manage this stuff. Now, people say, well, it doesn't do all that great all the time. Yeah, but it's better than nothing. Because if we have nothing, these guys are your masters. Okay, some of these things are written up in the scenarios, we can talk about it. You can go to our website. We sort of explain good, bad, and mixed on how this stuff evolves. And the idea of alternative scenarios is to figure out what you don't know that you ought to know. So as you're writing these things or reading them, you go, wow, I never thought about X. So I hope that you'll look at these scenarios, make yourself smarter, and get involved with your political leaders that are going to be pushing this next step of the evolution. We need a country right now to offer a UN General Assembly resolution for the creation of a UN AGI agency. I've done futures research for a bunch of years, involved a lot of technological change over time. This is the biggest, most complex management issue we've ever had. So even if we don't know how to create this UN agency yet, just by saying, well, let's start, it gets the real questions being taken seriously. Right now, it's academic discussions like this. And it can't be only academic discussions like this, or we're all potentially toast. Now, I'm very pleased to say that the European Commission asked me to write their AGI paper. Anybody can get it. It's on their website. If you have trouble, go to our website. You can find it. It's about a 12-page paper, 13-page, and it goes over all this stuff in nice detail. And the EC is like stamped and approved, so you can publicly available. And here's some more sources. My PowerPoint, I'm told, will be available to anybody that wants it. If you have it, so you can click on these things. It gives you the background on this. So, sir, we have tons of time left.
Excellent, Jerry. We have still some minutes to go. Could you tell us a little bit more on this research the Millennium Project is leading now, where we are in terms of interviews, who you are interviewing, and what are the next steps?
Yeah. The Millennium Project is a global participatory think tank. We're not all in one building. Some of us are here in Spain, some of us are in Israel, some of us in Iran, some of us in China, somebody's in Australia, etc., all around the world. And so what we're doing is the first step is we want to get all this information on the table. Because right now, one hotshot will say, this is what should be done, and another one says, no, this is what should be done. And of course, the third one says, you're both wrong, this is what should be done, all right? So we want to not do that. We want to use our nodes around the world, pull all this stuff together, get it on the table. And with the first step, after reading a bunch of stuff, is we picked 50 world leaders in AGI. Names you're familiar with, I'm sure, all the top folks. And those that we couldn't interview, we got their stuff off the record. But by the way, in the old days, you did literature searches of professional papers. But this field is going fast, as you know. Literally, different stuff comes out every day or two. So the best way to know what's going on is actually watch the Twitter arguments online between some of the hotshots. And also YouTube. You can go to YouTube, put in AGI, enter, and you'll see a bunch of them. When you want one that you like,
then you'll be connected up in a whole bunch. And every day, there'll be, like most of the YouTubes that I look at now, they're like 1 day old or 2 day old. Because it's not only that the software is changing, it's our awareness of the software. Somebody will say something, I never thought about that. Well, therefore, there's this. So there is an informal conversation occurring that you can all participate in. Yes.
We have one question up here. Yeah.
Hi, hello. Just your thought or your ideas about what Harari said, that he's very concerned that what he's called that the AI has hacked the operating systems of the humanity. His concern is basically related to the fact that the new generative AI will create the future narratives, the religions, the political discourses, etc. So when you are thinking of these newer scenarios of the development of general artificial intelligence, how do you think that can we fight far more than be concerned by the future of work or other things, how the artificial intelligence of the future will dominate the narrative of what we want to be?
Thank you.
Right.
Harari.
Okay. We did 3 scenarios in this one. Each scenario was 10 pages, so it's detailed. It's not one of these official couple paragraphs you see. It's detailed stuff. And in scenario 2, we don't get serious about organizing ahead of time, and organized crime grows, software goes off in different things. It's like militias. It's a real mess. It's a real mess. If you have some friends that are too optimistic, give them scenario 2. On the other hand, if you have people who are too pessimistic, give them scenario 3. Because in scenario 3, countries do figure out what to do ahead of time. And there's 2 curves to look at, especially the economic thing and the employment thing. You have, the cost of living is still going up. But as you take labor out of production, what happens? Your cost goes down. And an awful lot of other things are amortized because it's so large market, they still go down. So as your costs go down, that's one curve. We figure it starts to bell curve over maybe 2030, 2035, around there. So your cost of living is cheaper in 2035 than it is potentially now. Second curve is all these NT, next technologies. That's new income. You can even tax robots. So that becomes a new source of income. That starts to go up. Where these 2 curves cross over, then universal basic income becomes sustainable, potentially sustainable, which then means you have the freedom to create your life. We rush into a job. We have an education system that gets you to fit in. But who are you between your birth and whatever happens in the rest of your future? You will be able to invent yourself. The most successful people always say what? Follow your passion. We should have an economy based upon follow your passion. That's a self-actualizing economy. But you can't have a self-actualizing economy if you're a nervous wreck about income. So if you have the base taken care of, then at leisure you can put yourself together. You can get a hold of your AI avatar. You can have the security to invent yourself, because most people don't have that security. They have the idea that I am an economist. Why? Because my university says so. I am an engineer. Why? Because my boss says so. My identity is defined by that otherness of the world. Why not have your own identity, self-actualization? 6 minutes left. 3 seconds.
No,
have a happy future.
Excellent, excellent, Jerome. We are running out of time, so let me ask you to join me on thanking Jerome for this excellent talk.
Thank you very much.